defeated Duke, but with a 9-2-1 record on the season, they feel that they have a great opportunity tonight against the Blue Devils to create some separation in the ACC standings. Not often you see Duke sitting at number 9 in the conference table, but that's the case entering tonight. The Blue Devils are in all royal, Panthers in the home whites here at Ambrose Urbanic Field. Once again, thrilled to be with you. Jason Earl and Rachel Krieger bringing you the action from Oakland here tonight. Mentioned the coaches as well. Two of them have been around this conference for a while. Robbie Church is in his 23rd season at Duke. Randy Waldrum only in his 6th season at Pitt. Of course, spent time at Notre Dame as well, won a couple of national titles there. So coaches, something we will talk often throughout the night. Here is Endow on the left, and quickly we have our first corner kick of the night, and it'll go to Duke.
Just a little bit of a giveaway there. Ellie Breach taking a goal kick, not really where she wanted to go. Good awareness from Ellie Caulfield getting back there on defense to help out the Panthers.
Devin Lynch will take the corner. He grazes off the head of a Panther, and nothing doing on the rebound chance for the Blue Devils. Well, we talked to Pitt Associate head coach Ben Waldrum coming into tonight, and he especially talked about the importance of tonight's game against Duke. Mentioned the desperation the Blue Devils will have in this match because they've got the #1 team in the country coming next in North Carolina. So this is a huge matchup. Duke is really going to want to win this game against Pitt on the road, but the Panthers come in poised to beat Duke for the first time.
Yeah, even more than that, Duke has had not the best season so far this year, as now Pitt earns their first corner of the match. But yeah, Duke has been struggling this year, and granted they have a lot of tough opponents. Like you said, next up is North Carolina, but this has been a low-scoring team this year for Robbie Church and company.
Panthers took a quick short corner. Go ahead, Rachel.
Sorry, Jason. Yeah, that's been the struggle this year, is only 12 goals in the entire season, is figuring out, again, as we mentioned in the beginning, who is going to help out Kat Radar this season.
But for now, it's the Panthers on the attack until Amanda West was caught offside there on the near side. And such a big difference for Duke from last year, right? They had Michelle Cooper, went on to win the Mac Herman Trophy, and Kat Rader was on that team as well. Of course, Rader did her part last season too, scoring 12 goals to lead ACC freshman, but different story now. And when we talked to Robbie Church, he told us repeatedly they're looking for that second option to help Radar in the scoring department.
Yeah, and they've tested out a few options so far, just not quite clicking the way Cooper and Rader did last season. I think it's fair to say too, I don't know if Duke expected right away that Michelle Cooper was going to declare for the NWSL draft. She was a sophomore last season, now is a professional, and now they're just looking to find that assistance here for Rader. Karina Laguerre, she has 2 goals along with Katie Groff.
But you saw the graphic in the open. Rader with 5 goals on the season. Rest of team with just 7 for Duke, for 12 on the year. And meanwhile, the Panthers with 33 goals on the season. That's good for second in the ACC, top 15 in the nation. So a Panther team that has been able to contribute from a variety of different ways offensively, while Duke still searching for those options.
One way that the Panthers find themselves on the score sheet is through their corner kicks too. They are, I believe, first in the nation with earning those corner kicks. But one thing that Randy Waldrum said is we need to convert. We need to convert on these chances. Boston College was a game that the Panthers could have easily won 6-7-0. They had multiple, I think they were in the double digits at one point with corners. If not, they were very close to it. Just converting on those opportunities hasn't always been the easiest thing. It's the ACC, though. I mean, nobody gets goals easily, but got to start converting these numbers.
There's a perfectly placed through ball to Mertz. She's off to the races, cross the middle, and ultimately touched away by 19 in blue. That's Maggie Graham. And Mertz always going to provide opportunity on that right flank.
Yeah, Landy Mertz has just been absolutely standout this season. She has 6 assists, which leads the team. That's a really nice ball from Gordon to find her.
And the 6 assists from Mertz, 4th in the ACC, generates another Pittsburgh corner. And it's going to pop right back out to Szczepanski, but she will watch it go out for another corner kick. Already 4 in the match for the Panthers. We're not even 7 minutes in. There's an in-swinger. Well done by Leah Freeman. The transfer keeper came over from Oregon to haul that one in.
Leah Freeman, she has 3 shutouts this season. Like you said, Jason came in from Oregon. One thing that Robbie Church mentioned was it's hard scouting for transfers in general, but when you're scouting for West Coast transfers, there's so many good teams out there. As Katie Zalesky clears that ball away. But there's so many really strong sides. Stanford, UCLA, USC, I could go on and on and on. And yet he said she wanted a good education, she wanted to win. Those were big driving factors for her to come to Duke.
And she was the Pac-12 goalkeeper of the year last season. 114 saves, led the conference for the Ducks. And so she comes now originally from Berkeley, California, all the way over to Duke to join the Blue Devils. And Robbie Church emphasized they have some really big matches coming up the rest of the way, but she is certainly up to the task, embraces the challenge. And she's been very good. He calls her one of the best goalkeepers in the country. Mentioned Jeneba Endow goes by JJ. She has it there on the left flank. Now Karina Laguerre. Blue Devils drop and try to possess. And Szczepanski ultimately intercepts the pass. They find Mertz once again. It's a race to the ball with Brewster. And Bailey Brewster tracks it down. Mertz tried to touch around her, but it's out for a goal kick. And maybe Landy Mertz disagrees.
I think Landy Mertz was expecting a corner kick call there, but really nice ball from Szczepanski to get that all the way up to her, giving her a fighting chance.
And should note as well, Rachel, Panthers not typically in the 3-4-3. It's something we've seen now just for a couple matches. What do you make of the formation change for Pitt?
I like it. I think it works well. I don't think it underestimates opponents by any means, because you still have, you have a player like Ellie Caulfield kind of sliding in as that 4th defender to kind of make up for that missing, quote-unquote missing defender. It gives the chance for Kira Mellenhorst to get a start. She has been absolutely superb on taking corner kicks. Ellie Caulfield, offense and defense, she scored an absolute banger against Boston College and put in a lot of defensive work. And honestly, Jason, anytime I get to see a Caulfield and Chloe Minos midfield, I'm happy. That's just 2 excellent players.
Plenty of space for number 9, Amanda West on the left side. Working on Elle Piper. Shot from West, and it is wide. That's the first Pittsburgh shot of the day. But to go back to your point, Rachel, with Chloe Minos and Ellie Caulfield, it's been a talking point all season, right, between these two. And now in the new formation, they can get both of them in the starting 11 at the same time.
And it's just like, it just bolsters the team. They're 2 very, very strong players, leaders as well. They have the same kind of skill set, almost the same type of playing, just energy that they have just brings so much goodness to this Pittsburgh's team. Caulfield, she gets really, really deep on defensive opportunities.
Yeah.
Chloe Minos gets that ability to move up a little bit more. Chloe will get back on defense too, of course, but that kind of gives them the liberty to let Szczepanski and Mellenhorst kind of roam where they need to go because they've got it covered in those areas.
And you'll notice both of them wearing the captain's armband as well, so their presence is felt in a variety of ways when they're out on the pitch for the Panthers. Caulfield is a Pittsburgh native from Mars in her junior year. And what a goal she scored on Saturday.
Oh, my gosh. I told Colin Hughes was on the broadcast with us. I said, I don't know if she expected that. And I asked her after the game, did you? And she said, honestly, I didn't think I was going to tuck it behind goalkeeper Villebrandt.
Well, and even when we talked to Ben Waldrum, he told us that it caught her off guard a little bit. He's, maybe a player, Ellie Caulfield, not always used to being in scoring positions, but ball fell right to her foot. She one-timed it and put a laser upper 90 into the right corner.
It didn't take much to read her lips. She said, oh my gosh, I was not expecting that. Just the sheer shock on her face. It was priceless.
Yeah, Ben Waldrum called it a world-class finish Saturday night against Boston College, and mentioned the fact that being a captain, a leader, and having to split time is never easy, but she always turns up in big games and big moments, whether that means 90 minutes or 45. Caulfield is always at the ready. Ben Waldrum, of course, started the call with us earlier this week by saying we got the wrong Waldrum, which is not the way we look at it. So Sarah Szczepanski hits the turf on a collision there around the midfield. No fouls called yet in this match tonight. A little bit rare here, about 12 minutes in, not a single foul.
Yeah, the ref is being a little loose with his whistle, not really wanting to use it too much.
J.C. Rivero is our center referee tonight, joined by Taylor Bombalski, Paul DeVerse, and Chris Regan. Minas turns around Brewster. Plenty of room. Minas with a cross. Szczepanski on target, but saved by Freeman.
Oh, that move from Chloe Minas was just perfection. Setting herself up to get a nice turn, run toward the ball. It was a really, really nice cross. I think Samaya Fury was a little bit early there. She could have gotten that.
And that is a veteran center back in Bailey Brewster that Minas was able to pull the move on there. Turning our heads to the right a lot, Rachel. A lot of action for the Pitt attack so far.
Yeah, and usually in the history of these two meeting up, granted this is their 8th meeting, you don't expect Pitt to get these many opportunities, but this move from Chloe Minas is just so good.
Now Duke on the other end, a chance there, but well done by the Panther defense. Olivia Lee was involved and ultimately fell into the arms of Ellie Breach. Another shift you might see throughout the night in the Duke lineup that Robbie Church told us about. Maggie Graham, the best runner on the team. So oftentimes they'll send her forward, even though she usually starts back in the midfield, sometimes even closer towards the defensive line. But 5'9" senior wearing 19 there for Duke often provides a lot in terms of pressuring that back line for the Panthers. So you might see her switch with Karina Laguerre, who would drop back in those cases while Graham runs up ahead.
Looking to Graham for that other attacking option to really just supplement Cat Radar.
There's a nice interception for the Blue Devils. And now whistle will keep it with Duke. Free kick. And so with Graham coming up high, she's flanked and Dow to her left, Rader to her right, but now an interception for the Panthers. Over the top from Szczepanski to Fury. Tried to get it through to West. If it got there, it would have been West and the keeper, but instead the Duke defense able to snuff it out. Olivia Lee is the left defender for the Panthers, wearing 20. She's a true freshman, making her third start of the season here tonight. Also played 68 minutes, got the start Saturday night against Boston College. Duke takes it from her here. This is Devin Lynch working on Lee. Takes the safe drop. Now Laguerre. Shot just wide of the post, but Karina Laguerre testing this Panther defense.
That's a tough shot for any goalkeeper as well. At a really, really difficult angle. Skips across the face of goal in front of Ellie Breach, who has had a lot more to do than she had against Boston College.
Ellie Breach seemed to just have that look there. I sure hope this goes wide.
Yeah, I think if I was Laguerre, I would have passed that down to the runner. I think that was Graham making that diagonal run into the box. Give her a little bit of an easier shot.
We, of course, expected a good match tonight between these two ACC contenders. Close in the standings. Panthers at 6th and Duke in the 9th spot. So far, it's been even. 3 shots apiece. Panthers with the edge in corners, 4-1. But it is a classic ACC soccer battle here tonight in Pittsburgh.
Not often between these two sides, though, that you see Pitt leading in the possession, and that was something Robbie Church said. He said he likes his teams to have possession. They don't really like to defend that much. As that chance goes out of bounds, saying if we get about 60 to 65% of possession, then we are in good hands usually. Said we are a much more attacking-based team than we are a defensive team.
Duke struggling. As noted in the last 3, they have not won. Their last victory came September 17th on the road at Boston College. So trying to get back in the winning column here tonight. Of course, the injuries don't help. They're without Olivia Migley, the Blue Devils tonight. And, of course, the big one, Emily Royson, senior defender, who was a mainstay in the starting 11 before an injury 5 minutes into the game against Notre Dame. So Robbie Church and company doing their best to cope with those injuries, the losses that they've had over the past couple. And, you know, Church, when we talked to him, he said he's never been so excited to come to Pittsburgh. And the reason for that is because he had to miss Sunday's game against Virginia due to an illness. So he is delighted to be back on the sidelines coaching the Blue Devils tonight.
Well, and he got a perfect game. He came right before all the rain is supposed to come.
That's right.
Said he was enjoying the weather, the view from his hotel balcony, watching game film, getting ready for tonight. It's not often you come to Pittsburgh this time of the year with 80-degree weather.
That's true. (20) NCAA trips at Duke. They have reached the quarterfinal each of the last 3 years. And Rachel, you and I were talking before the match tonight. It seemed like last year was the year for Duke. They had the Mac Herman winner in Michelle Cooper, a great catalyst up front in Kat Rader, and ultimately went down in the round of 8 in the NCAA tournament, but Robbie Church has proved that Duke is a team that's going to be in the mix every year.
Yeah, Duke is just such a strong team, and you see a lot of their players go professional, their most recent being Michelle Cooper. They had 3 players picked in the 2023 NWSL draft this year. There's a lot of players currently in the league and abroad who are from Duke. This is a storied franchise. Having a longtime head coach like Robbie Church doesn't hurt. Said his players absolutely love him. They highly respect him. They love playing for him. He's built something very strong at Duke, and it's not just him. He was the first to tell us, Jason, that give all the credit to the coaching staff as well, and a big catalyst to that is Carla Overbeck, 3-time World Cup participant, 2-time World Cup winner. She gives these players a lot of real-life experience and advice.
Specifically with Overbeck, he talked about how selfless she is, no task too small type of mentality. He said right now is a busy testing season for the Blue Devils, and Overbeck is actually the one that was monitoring the testing earlier today. So as accomplished as she is, an illustrious career on the international level with the U.S., still no task too small for Carla Overbeck, and always willing to do whatever she can to help out this Duke program. Which, by the way, I'll add is quite ironic considering she went to UNC.
Yeah, UNC probably thinking, we got robbed of Carla Overbeck. But you know what? They're fine. They have Heather O'Reilly on their coaching staff. They have their own international. But, I mean, man, the stories that Carla Overbeck can tell. A member, obviously, of that 1999 World Cup winning team, 91 as well. 99 really helped put women's soccer on the map in this country.
So just under 23 left in this first half. Panthers trying to build something here. Mertz cuts around. Beautiful run. Has a shot saved by Freeman.
I think she got her toe a little under the ball there. A little bit of spin. It almost seemed like the ball was slowing down a little bit as it was going towards Leah Freeman. Nice ball from Amanda West.
What a placement on the ball from West.
It's a good shot. I think she just got a little bit underneath it. Landy Mertz has been putting in so much work with this team, whether it's taking shots, providing assists, crosses, whatever you need from her. She's doing it. 5th year, senior, another hometown kid.
High corner kick here from the Panthers. Ashton Gordon tried to pop out and get it, but rolls out for a goal kick. Mentioned Landy Mertz, local from Upper St. Clair High School. Was named the Post-Gazette Player of the Year, her senior at Upper St. Clair, and started her college time at Dayton. Was on the A10 All-Rookie team before coming over to Pitt. And now back in her hometown, and what an addition she has been for the Panthers. And Rachel, one of the things that Randy Waldrum has continued to harp on is the importance of recruiting local talent and bringing them to Pitt.
Yeah, lots of really strong talent, specifically in the WPIAL here. Got a couple WPIAL players here on the roster. I remember a couple years ago, Christina Rytel was a member of this team. She was another WPIAL player. Another form of quote-unquote local recruiting has been Canada as well.
That's right.
Pitt has very much ingrained themselves in Canada, but yeah, it's nice to see a program like this in the toughest conference in the United States recruiting those local players.
Amanda Amanda West, of course, from Ontario. Chloe Menas from Quebec. And Leah Pace, another one who has since transferred to Florida State, but she contributed in big ways on the attack for the Panthers in recent seasons. So, as you noted, Rachel, big-time recruiting spot for the Panthers in Canada. Also add Kira Mellenhorst into that bunch now. She's been a difference maker in the midfield for Pitt.
And Texas, too. I mean, Texas has been a big gold mine for the Panthers, and that's thanks to the Texas natives, Randy Waldrum and Ben Waldrum. Samaya Fury comes from Texas. She's not here anymore, but Adelie Palomo came from Texas and Ben Waldrum's club team. But they're expanding. A lot of other parts of the country. Olivia Lee's from New York. And Pitt and Duke, a lot of similarities. They're both not really transfer portal teams. They get a couple transfers a year. One thing Robbie Church had said about his group was, I never thought I'd see the day where Duke would have three transfers on the roster. And it sounds like such a small number, but for a school like Duke, they're a pretty good recruiting team. They're in a tough situation being as close as they are to UNC, but still getting a lot of high quality players, and it shows with the last couple years in the NWSL draft. In 2018, 6 players were picked from Duke. That was the most they ever had. Part of that group was Amani Dorsey, who currently plays.
So both teams taking turns stringing passes together. Now Duke trying to build something in the final third. Little too much from Katie Groff behind Mellenhorst as the Panthers draw the foul and stave off the attack from the Blue Devils. But Rachel, to your point back on Robbie Church, big reason why they're sending so many to the pros is the job he's doing recruiting. They have the number 6 overall class this year. They've had a top 12 class in each of the last 11 seasons, and it's been top 5 in 6 of those years. And this is a crucial foul call here just outside the box. Amanda West drew it. Bailey Brewster pleading her case, but the Panthers are going to have a dangerous opportunity here just about 20 yards out.
This is wonderful playmaking and awareness from Amanda West. She's like a semi-truck just going through 3-4 defenders. I think it's a good call. I think Brewster gets a little bit of the ball, but she also clips too much of West's toe there. Now it's who takes this kick, and how many players for Duke do you put on this wall?
Right now it's West and Mellenhorst lined up behind it. West on the left of your screen, Kira Mellenhorst just to her right.
One thing Robbie Church complimented was Panthers are really good at set-piece plays.
One of the best opportunities we've seen tonight from either side coming up. Amanda West sails it just over the bar.
It was a good-looking shot, but a little bit too much. I think this is just one of those ones that the ball just got carried. Didn't look like it hit off anybody. A nice strike, just a little too much underneath the ball with her toe.
Brings the Panthers up to 5 shots on the night to Duke's 3. Corners is 5-1 in favor of Pitt, and we don't have exact possession numbers yet. We'll get them at halftime. But Rachel, right now, it seems like Pitt has a slight edge in that category.
I would say so, and I think that's one of the things that Robbie Church is going to go into halftime with. Be a little bit steadier with the ball, build up your possession. Like we said, he likes his teams to be possession-based. They don't like to defend, but they are doing a whole lot of defending in this game.
Graham, perfect pass through. It's Rader, but Olivia Lee is there to clean it up, and Rader was offside anyway. But wow, was that close. It looked to me like Rader perfectly timed her run. It was a dangerous spot for Pitt.
Yeah, it was close for sure, and got to give a lot of credit to Olivia Lee. I don't mind Ellie Breach coming out to get that ball. It looks like she committed 100% to it. Just a nice move there from Rader. But Olivia Lee, the freshman, coming up big.
So the Panthers try to counter quickly, but Szczepanski's pass is deflected away by Piper, the right back for Duke. West takes it away from Piper. Cross is deflected and caught by Freeman, but the official going to say it did cross over that end line. So the Panthers will have their 6th corner kick of the night.
Freeman trying to make her case to the referee. Waving it away, saying he doesn't want to hear it. Yeah, that's a good call. That's the correct call.
So it'll be Sarah Szczepanski again from the far corner. In swinging ball, headed by a Duke defender. Mellenhorst has it. And this time a goal kick. Kira Mellenhorst thought they deserved another corner kick. Pittsburgh will make its first substitution of the night, and a Bout will enter for Mellenhorst. Bout, another one of those Canadians for the Panthers from Ontario.
She's always been kind of that undercover, sneaky good player for the Panthers. Whenever they need someone, especially for an assist, they call on Anna Bout. She's one of those 5th-year players. She and Amanda West have such a good connection, too.
Bout with 7 assists last year. That was 2nd on the team. Szczepanski fires, but too wide and high. Both teams have had some close opportunities, especially in the past couple sequences on both ends. Bout comes up with it. Well done by the midfielder.
What Pitt's doing right now is what Duke is going to want to do. They're building up their possession. They're playing out of the back. Offside call there, like on Sarah Szczepanski, but playing out of the back is not always been Pitt's game. They have all really relied on the counterattacks and the corner kicks, but just this group is too good not to build up possession and keep possession in games, and they've been doing well with that tonight. But a big credit to Duke's defense and goalkeeper Freeman coming up with some big saves, some big stops on some opportunities.
Mertz through to Szczepanski, an opportunity. Over to West, but well done by the Duke defense. Coming through was Piper to clear the danger. Szczepanski and West on the attack for Pitt.
Yeah, stop if you've heard that before. Sarah Szczepanski and Amanda West getting busy on that attack. Really nice cut there. Just kind of loses her footing there on the ball. Big defensive play there. Duke number 8, Elle Piper.
And important again to note, I think West was in an offside position there. Was called. But lots of pressure from that front line for the Panthers. However, Rachel, the talking point from the Pitt coaching staff has been converting in that final third, something they wanted to see more of on Saturday. They had 23 shots against Boston College, but only 2 goals to show for it. So far tonight, building things into Duke territory, but nothing on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the message right there, Jason, heading into the locker rooms if this game remains scoreless. Just how do we convert these opportunities? How do we convert the 6 corner kicks that we've had? I mean, the set pieces are there, and they've been looking pretty good. A couple crosses on these corners have been low. For the most part, they've been decent opportunities, but how do you convert them? And you know Amanda West, she wants a goal. She has not scored since September 17th against NC State. She doesn't want to go this whole home stretch without having a goal.
Amanda West, of course, the program's all-time leader with 45 goals. Some people call her the Pitt women's soccer GOAT. At least that's what the kids say.
I think they'd be right about that. No player has ever scored this many goals in program history. Look at all of these statistics, and to be quite honest with you, yes, Pitt has such a great team. I don't think anybody's coming close to some of these records. It's just so impressive. The only player in team history with 30-plus career goals. Now, I think somebody might reach that landmark and join her, but I don't know if anybody's going to match those 45 and really 45 and counting.
Well, Rachel, I think when people look back on this rise of Pitt women's soccer, it really started with her in her freshman season, and the way she burst onto the scene in the ACC changed the trajectory of Pitt women's soccer. And now Pitt defending Duke here. Ellie Breach going to come out and make a save with 8.5 to play in the first half.
To your point about Amanda West, you know, she and Randy Waldron both have talked multiple times about just the relationship that they have and how they really have just relied on each other. Randy Waldron, that was his first recruiting class, his first big recruiting class, kind of coming in late to his first season, and entering his second season, he gets a whole plethora of players, and she's part of that group. And I mean, there were some solid veterans that she was playing with, and she was just the star of the show in her freshman and sophomore year.
Here is Amanda West. Cross in, and about touches off the right post. Excellent cross, nearly a finish from Bout, but the Panthers keep chugging. Zielski has a ball in from her own. And the touch from Bout off that right post, the closest opportunity we have seen tonight.
Yeah, that was a really nice shot. Unlucky to hit off the post. She was hoping to get what Geneva Nada got in her first goal, a smack off the post and going inside in goal, but deflecting out. Oh my gosh, if that would have gone in on a back heel, this place would have erupted. Nice ball from Amanda West. Tough angle, lots of traffic.
And especially for a player like Anna Bout, who we just finished talking about, more known for her distribution abilities, not always a goal scorer, not always flashy, but big opportunity there. Now Landy Mertz. Fury. And it's cleared away in the back by Graham. But even on a lot of these temporary Duke clearances, Panthers finding ways to keep possession, and they just keep coming back.
Landy Mertz runs into one of the photographers, make sure he's okay. But that's the effort. That's the
right.
effort you're going to get from
There,
Landy
Alex.
Mertz.
Alex does a great job taking pictures. Pitt Sports, Pittsburgh Steelers. Seems to be okay after the collision with Landy.
Oh, if he takes Pitt in Pitt football, I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's ran into worse.
You make a great point. You know, all credit to Landy Mertz, but TJ Watt may be a different beast.
Oh, what a nice ball. I'm surprised that doesn't get whistled.
Here's Bout. Wonderful touch to Caulfield. A strike from Caulfield off the bar. Freeman made the save.
Oh my, if the college game had VAR, you have to wonder if she stepped back enough for that to go into goal. But what a strike. I thought we were going to see what happened against Boston College. About the same distance. Nice strike.
Wow.
Looks like it just misses that goal line there. But this is much better from Pitt, getting better looks on target. There's a difference between getting shots on target and getting good shots on target.
And Rachel, with under 5 minutes left to go in the first half, how important is it that they strike here before the break?
Well, Pitt has all the momentum right now, so you would want them to get the leading goal going into halftime. This is a big play here from Freeman.
Yeah, really close.
Gets a little bit of an assist from the crossbar.
Yep.
Has her hands positioned correctly, but no, to your point, Jason, all the momentum right now is in Pitt's way. They're making Duke defend, and Duke doesn't want to. So they have to defend there again. Landy Mertz coming in. But I think Pitt going into halftime, certainly the happier team. I think Robbie Church is going to have some questions for his midfield with giving up some of these balls. I think Duke has looked really good on the attack as well. They've given Ellie Breach a lot to work on. The defense has been tested a lot. I think the midfield has just been a little spotty with giving up some of these balls. Pitt jumping on them, that's where they're getting these counterattacks from, is from the midfield. You're not seeing too many long balls from Ashton Gordon and Olivia Lee, Katie Zalesky coming to the front.
And speaking of the midfield, I think Sarah Shapansky is showing her versatility tonight. A player who leads the team in goals, often plays on that front line, but tonight in the starting 11 drops back into an attacking midfield role. She has been feeding that front line all night.
Her and Landy Mertz have just been excellent in the midfield tonight. The other pieces around them, whether it's Kira Mellenhorst or Anna Bout. Shapansky's going to want that one back, just getting way too much underneath there, but already surpassing numbers. Well, not the assist numbers, but the goal numbers. 8 goals this year in 12 games. That's already half of what she did last year.
Yep, a goal or an assist in 8 of 12 games on the year for Sarah Shapansky. And course of the match has been interesting, Rachel. First 20, 25 minutes, we talked about how even things were. The last 10 or 15 have been all Pitt.
Yeah, just completely a momentum swing. And, you know, these players and Coach Waldrum are going to curse halftime for kind of breaking up that momentum. A lot of this game is going to rely on who comes out, makes the necessary adjustments in the second half. And you could see a very early goal here in the second half.
Yeah, it seems like Panthers are almost treating this as it's the end of the game. They really want a goal here before halftime. West fires. Now it drops out, and Mertz is going to beat Watkins to the ball. Panthers retain possession.
Good job from Chloe Minos to kind of threaten Duke there.
Was that like a fake slide tackle there?
Yeah, I think it was, so she wouldn't go for the ball. And yeah, I think that's the correct call. Duke player was the last to touch it.
High IQ play from a veteran captain.
Huge play, because that makes the Duke player, I'm sorry, I couldn't see who it was. I think it was Graham, but I'm unsure. She doesn't want to step on her and give up that foul, so that's a big play from Chloe Minos. Kati Jerzina was the player not wanting to give up a potential foul there.
Caulfield takes away the pass and finds Mertz immediately. Mertz using her wheels on the outside, crosses up. Amanda West gets a head on it, but a tough angle, and it's cleared away by Duke. A foul called right around the 6-yard mark, just to the left of that post.
Yeah, and it's the correct call to make. Foul here against Amanda West, using number 19, Maggie Graham, kind of as a springboard.
So Leah Freeman taking her time on the goal kick, and obvious reasons why. I think the Blue Devils are anxious to get to halftime and take a breather from this dangerous Pitt attack that we have seen throughout the first half. It is a 10-3 advantage in shots for the Panthers, 6-1 in corner kicks. And Rachel, especially in the final moments of that first half, Pitt was clearly the better team.
Yeah, Pitt has all the momentum, and they're going to go into halftime.
And get easier. Clemson, also a top 10 team, is next for Duke.
Yeah, they certainly don't have a friendly schedule coming up, and not to say that Pitt is an easy opponent, but it's definitely not the hardest opponent you have when you have some other ranked ones up ahead. Obviously, UNC is such a tall task.
Well, and what does that say about the ACC? A team that's 9-2-1, we're saying, is not the toughest opponent they'll see.
Right, exactly. I mean, this is without a doubt, I think every coach that we've spoken to has said it, that this is the toughest conference to play in. It's only going to get tougher. Stanford's coming in a couple years, along with two others. I believe SMU is coming.
SMU and Cal joining the conference. It's only going to get harder.
Only going to get harder. When these teams play Stanford, that's going to be a big wake-up call. They're a lot like North Carolina, but also incredibly different, too. It just is another tall order for these ACC teams.
And Ben Waldron talked a good bit about the Panthers' record this season, talking about finding signature wins and opportunity to get one here tonight against Duke. Of course, this weekend as well, when the Panthers take on Wake Forest, and says really that, you know, they missed the boat a little bit with Xavier, didn't convert against Louisville, but they have a team that could easily be unbeaten. Samaya Fury from way out for the Panthers. What a strike from Fury to open the scoring.
I said that this could be a game where these two teams come out at halftime and someone finds an immediate goal. Lo and behold, it's the Panthers. It's Samaya Fury. She runs over to her bench and celebrates with her teammates. My word, just an incredible ball control, taking that strike. That is a big shot against a very experienced goalkeeper like Leah Freeman. That takes a lot of guts to take that shot. It looked almost like what Ellie Breach did the other day against Boston College. Send it really exactly in the same spot that she did, Ellie Caulfield. Wouldn't that be something if Ellie Breach scored a goal? Getting a little bit ahead of myself here, Jason, but just incredible ball work from Samaya Fury, and what a strike. That's 6 goals on the year for her. She's tied with Amanda West for the second most on the team. Never thought we'd say that in a given season, but this team just has been spreading the wealth, and there could be a couple more goals for the Panthers here tonight with the way they're playing.
You know, we talked towards the end of the first half about that momentum Pitt was carrying into the break, and you wondered whether they could continue it into the second half after they took 15 minutes off. Well, Samaya Fury had the answer for us. Just a couple minutes in to this second 45, Fury capitalizes for the Panthers.
That says something, too, just about the mentality of this team to have all of that momentum and all of that possession at the end of the first half, not come away with anything there, and then to come out immediately just on fire, attacking net, giving the goalkeeper something to worry about. That is a big play there.
And Fury not done yet, pressuring the Blue Devils once again. Talk so much about this tenacious Pitt attack. So many different weapons. We showed you in the open 4 different goal scorers on the year with at least 4. Samaya Fury, one of them.
She's kind of been that unsung hero for Pitt over the last couple of years. She always finds her way on the scoreboard, but she doesn't have the historic stats per se like Amanda West does. She's not the flashiest striker, but she gets the job done. She's a very gritty player. She was one of those Pitt Panther transfers, I believe from Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, yep. One of the many finds of the Waldrums.
So now Duke essentially playing the entire second half, at least from what we know this point forward, down a goal. Samaya Fury wastes no time in half number 2, putting the Panthers on the board, and it was just 1 minute and 32 seconds in to this second half. The Panthers take the lead. Panthers take it away again. And About has a shot, and About has a goal. 2-0 Pittsburgh in the first 5 minutes of half number 2.
Oh my goodness, Jason, I'll tell you what I love about this goal, and that is the patience of this goal. And About is just absolutely phenomenal here. A giveaway for Duke. Sarah Szczepanski slides it over. She's known for her assists. She takes her time. She assesses the situation. She gives herself a little bit of a tougher goal going at an angle like that, but it pays off.
And you could just feel it coming towards the end of that first half. Panthers continue to press, continue to build in the attacking third. And now early in the second half, Rachel, they find themselves up 2 goals.
I don't think anybody was happier for Anna Bout's goal than Amanda West right there. I mean, she just loves seeing her longtime friend score. Those two have had such a good connection over the past few years. You'd love to see Amanda West get a goal in this game. She's been knocking, hasn't scored since September 17th. You know she's itching on this left side to get one on the board tonight. Duke immediately got into a huddle as soon as that goal ended. Every single player, offense, defense, midfield, goalkeeper, to assess the situation.
That's Bailey Brewster down on the last play for the Blue Devils. Brewster, the junior defender, has been battling an injury. She was another one of those Duke Blue Devils that got hurt in the game at Notre Dame, had to miss the following game against NC State, and they've been relieved to have her back in the lineup. They did have her Sunday against Virginia, and just an odd collision off the ball there with Samaya Fury. Not quite sure. Looks like the legs maybe just got caught. Fury wasn't paying attention to who was in front of her. And they are now tending to that left leg of Bailey Brewster.
You know, so often, Jason, you hear these stories about women's soccer players in specific and tearing their ACLs. So anytime you see a leg injury, you just hope it's not that. This is the last thing that Robbie Church wants to see, is another player down injured. I mean, Duke just cannot get a break right now. This is a good team. They have just been plagued by injuries. You hope Brewster can get up and walk off on her own power. Maybe even continue on for a little bit. But a lot of concern over here on the Duke bench with Brewster down.
And especially plagued by injuries to their back line. They talked so much about having Brewster back, how important she was on Sunday against Virginia. And they certainly don't want to lose her again. And she is now on her feet, walking off. Just over 40 minutes to go here in Pittsburgh. Panthers jumped out to a quick 2-0 lead to start the second half. And we will continue to await any updates on Brewster. But for now, Robbie Church going to have to improvise without a key defender.
She's walking really well, and it looked like assistant coach Carla Overbeck was signaling that she didn't need to be out for the game long. They have to sub her for a little bit here. Already looking like she's going to come back in. Yeah, she is.
Yep. That's good to see.
That's a huge positive for Robbie Church and company. She's such a leader on that back line, along with goalkeeper Leah Freeman. Duke needs leadership in this game right now. This is They always say that 2-0 is the worst lead to have in soccer.
I have heard that one.
A couple times.
I don't know how much validity there is to it, but I have heard it.
I've seen both sides of the coin. I think Duke is just such a strong team, and, you know, history's been on their side, but Panthers at home, also history going on their side. And just in this game, Pitt has looked like the stronger team.
Yeah. And that's what the stats say as well. Pitt with the 12-3 lead in shots, 6-1 in corners. We showed you they have the possession advantage. And it's weird to say, Rachel, it's weird to think considering the history, but Pitt has just been the better side.
Well, history has changed so much with this Pitt team in the Randy Waldrum era. I mean, playing Boston College, I remember looking at the game notes the other day, just seeing well, Boston College has led them, I think, about 12 something. And just Pitt at home, dominant. And it feels like the last couple of years, Jason, that they've been compiling those wins against Boston College, among other teams that they're really changing the tide for. But at home this year, 5 wins, 1 draw. That draw coming against Notre Dame. Deborah Abiodun, who we haven't seen tonight. She's not out, but she hasn't played yet tonight. And if you would ask me if she's going to come in this game, I mean, don't fix what isn't broken. I think let her rest, get her ready for Wake Forest, have her come in that game and make a big impact. But she was a big part of that draw against Notre Dame.
And the Panthers are not stepping off the gas. They've continued to dominate territory-wise possession as Fury draws another foul in a very dangerous position here. Sarah Shapansky's going to have a free kick with just over 38 minutes to play. Panthers scored 2 goals within 5 minutes to start the half, and they've got another prime opportunity here.
The way this is set up, it's almost like a corner kick.
Shapansky, Fury got a head on it, but it's punched away by Freeman. Well done by the aggressive keeper. And Rachel, you mentioned Boston College, of course, the team that Pitt was able to notch its first ever ACC win against. And when we talked to Ben Waldrum, he talked about that match and how far they've come since that ACC win, the first for the Panther program just a few years ago. And he said when he was talking to us, the picture on his wall was of the aftermath, the dog pile after the win against Boston College. And he looks at it as a reminder of how poor they were when they started their time here at Pitt, with Ben Waldrum and his dad Randy on the right there. And it is incredible to think how far they've come in the last 6 years.
Yeah, and it's been awesome to just have that front row seat for this. You and I were on that call a bunch of years ago. Feels like yesterday almost, Jason. But now
here they are leading Duke 2-0, right?
Yeah, leading Duke 2-0. And, you know, coming into this season, that's a nice poke away from Ashton Gordon there. But coming into this season, Ben Waldrum, I got to speak to him while Randy was coming back from the Women's World Cup where he was coaching Nigeria, but he said, we expect this now. We expect to be in the ACC tournament. We expect to be in the NCAA tournament. And we expect to finish at the top of the pack in this really, really tough conference. This team is not a team that is down at the bottom of the standings anymore. They're not just a team lingering in the middle of the pack. They made the ACC tournament, and they got that taste, and they don't want to go back.
On another thing Randy has talked about is he's never seen a team ranked in the top 15 in the preseason continue to win games and continue to fall in the poll. Well, Panthers, if they win tonight, might have something to say about that. They are 9-2-1 on the year, and at times has certainly looked like they do have the caliber of team to get into the top 25. And Rachel, of course, we have to see what happens on Sunday against Wake Forest as well, but this looks like one of the best 25 teams in college soccer.
Yeah, and that's something Randy Waldrum alluded to earlier this week when I talked to him. He said this game only helps our RPI. getting a potential result against Wake Forest will only help their RPI and get them in that ranked position. Duke fell, I think, 3 or 4 spots to 22 leading up to this game. Wake Forest fell, I believe, from 21 to 25. But they're still ranked nonetheless, and some results against 2 ranked teams. Randy Waldrum said Wake has been coming on really strong here in the late half of the season. I mean, that would only help Pitt getting to be ranked once again.
Well, there's an important takeaway for the Blue Devils. Haven't generated too much offense this half, but that was a key moment there that draw a corner.
And good on Ashton Gordon for staying tall and staying strong. That ball goes out for a corner. This could be a chance for Duke to find something.
And it is just their second corner kick of the match. Pittsburgh has had 6. And that first one for Duke came very, very early in the first half. Ball comes in from Lynch. A little too high and a little too far on the backside. And El Piper is there for another try. Breach comes out aggressively. Well done to punch it away. There is a Duke player down in the center of the box, and now the whistle blows. It's Maggie Graham, the senior, being helped up by Breach. Seems to be okay.
I wonder what Robbie Church is discussing with his players as they're moving up and down the flank. This is a team that wants possession, but right now they just can't figure it out against Pitt. They are just completely overwhelmed by all aspects. Their Pitt's offense, their midfield, their defense. They just can't crack it.
And Rachel, what's interesting to me is we talk so much about the depth that Pitt has this year and how much that can help in games like this where they have no shots on goal, Duke. But Pitt really hasn't subbed all that much, but it's just the fact they are winning every ball. They seem to be first to every 50-50 challenge, and they seem to have more energy in spite of the fact that they really haven't subbed much at all.
Honestly, them not subbing as much kind of worries me. I think at 2-0 you can have that ability to sub a little bit more. They do have a game. I mean, both sides, granted, have a game in 3 days. Duke taking on UNC, Pitt taking on Wake Forest. So I'm intrigued to see how the lack of substituting will roll over into those Sundays games for both sides, really.
Of course, Laney Fuchs, an option for the Panthers. Started 11 matches, the first 11 matches of the season for Pittsburgh at left back. But with the formation change, has not been in the starting 11 recently. Still an option off the bench. And should note they are missing 2 options off the bench. As you noted, Deborah Abiodun not officially ruled out, but was battling a concussion. Same with Fleming Dean. So those are 2 options that they would normally have that maybe aren't in the picture tonight. A little over a half hour to go. Amanda West on the break again. Finds Anna Bow. Bow with the touch. Shoots, and it's blocked by the Duke defense. Roller was there, and Freeman scooped it up.
Trying to replicate the earlier shot that she had in this game. Pretty much at the same spot. Just a good block from Roller this time. Learning from the past.
There's another instance there of just the Panthers pressing on Duke. Anytime the Blue Devils seem to have found someone to stay on the ball, Panthers just get there faster. A little bit more ambition and energy from this Pitt side tonight. They are not backing down even with the 2-goal lead. Here's Fury again. Another strike from her. This one's right into the arms of Freeman.
There's a certain someone who hasn't seen much of the ball in this second half on this left side, number 9, Amanda West. You know she's going to want to get a few more touches, a few more shots off, try to end this goal-scoring drought that she finds herself in. Randy Waldrum said, though, he's not too worried about it because she looked lively against Notre Dame and she looked much better against Boston College, just not really putting them in the back of the net right now. He said, I would be a little bit more worried if Amanda West was just completely shut down by opponents, but said she's getting good looks at the ball, getting good touches, opportunities, just hasn't been able to find the back of the net yet.
I think maybe the most striking stat when talking about Amanda West, 2018, Pitt scored 11 goals as a team. Now 2019 was Amanda West's freshman year. She scored 10 all by herself.
Yeah, I think it was either with you or with Colin, but Amanda West has scored at home alone more than any player has scored home or away. So that should tell you all you know about her and scoring at Ambrose Urbanic. She loves this field. It's her home field, why not? She really, really wants a goal tonight. Talked to her after that Boston College game. She said she felt good, but she just really wants a goal.
Maddie, I'm the new cheerleader.
Duke now looking to make something happen. Cross is in, headed away by Caulfield. It comes out to Devin Lynch. Caulfield again is there. Now Anna Bout takes the loose ball. West using her speed to fend off Piper. Now going to cut it back, play the safe ball. And Rachel, still about 28 minutes to go, but I think at this point you have to chalk this up as maybe Pitt's best performance of the season.
Yeah, I would agree. This has just been such a complete performance on all sides of the ball, from goalkeeper to forwards. This has just been a really solid game, and I think Randy Waldrum and company are going to be really happy about this performance. There's still a lot of soccer to play left. I think that's what he's telling them right there on the bench is relax a little bit. We have time. We have the goals. I know this team wants more. They want more for the RPI and to get ranked. They want more just to kind of flex on some of these other teams. They've had multi-goal games this year.
Well, you're talking about a team in Duke that has been to 3 straight NCAA quarterfinals. If you find a way to beat them, that is a statement victory for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think a lot of the ACC is going to turn their heads at this game and realize what Pitt did. This is no easy task by any means. You know, this isn't like Duke graduated 90% of their starters. They have a lot of starters from last year and a lot of quality on this team. Duke's issue this year is they just can't find the back of the net. I mean, their defense has been very good tonight. The Pitt has just had better shots. There's really not much you can do on the Samaya Fury shot from way downtown, and then Anna Bouts was just a lot of slicing and dicing. But other than that, I mean, the defense has been really solid. It's just the midfield and the attacking has not been up to par for Duke. Like we said earlier in this game, they need to find that combination with Kat Rader, so she's not just doing it on his own. That was one of Church's biggest worries, was that she's going to put too much pressure on herself and maybe make some moves, make some plays that are unnecessary or stretching her too thin. He doesn't want her to have all this pressure and feel like she needs to do it by herself.
Well, and even tonight, Kat Rader been mostly quiet throughout tonight's action as we get the offside, but you said it. He admitted pressure is building on her because that question is lingering. If she doesn't score the goals, then where are the goals coming from? And so that's what Duke is trying to figure out right now. And you see the last 2 years, 10 games in, they had 8 wins in 2021 and 2022. But the difference is the scoring has just not been there.
No, and that's an issue that they're trying to work through. Both of those seasons that you see right there, you know who they had on their team? They had Michelle Cooper, and they're trying to find that replacement for her right now.
And of course, have to give credit to Olivia Lee for the Panthers as well, taking on a player like Kat Rader, reigning ACC Freshman of the Year, and Olivia Lee, a freshman now in her own right, defending her really effectively.
Yeah, Olivia Lee, this is 2 really solid games for her. And Duke knows that she is a freshman. Boston College knew that she was a freshman, and they tested her frequently and often. And for her to stand up the way that she has been playing, she's made really good passes. She's even the passes that maybe she sent to the midfield and that have been intercepted, she gets right back on defense and wins them right back. She has been such a good addition to this Panthers team, and she is somebody that, you know, before the season even started, coaching staff said, watch out for Olivia Lee.
Shapansky's corner headed for Gordon, pops out to Caulfield. That strike sails over. Ellie Caulfield maybe with some deja vu to Saturday night on the ball that popped out to her just outside the box when she converted it from distance to help Panthers to a 2-0 lead over BC. Just the sense of urgency from Pitt has not fallen off, even with the 2 goals.
No, they want more. They know that they can get more. In addition to a win against Duke, what a statement it would be if they could compile 3 or 4 goals in this game against such a tough ACC opponent.
It seems hard to find a moment where Duke has been able to string more than just a few passes together. Panthers always seem to be there to take it away. This time, Landy Mertz using her speed, but Bailey Brewster beats her there and clears it out for a throw. Now, Pitt's still playing this game as if it were 0-0. That's the energy they're giving off right now.
Well, and I think that goes back to the 2-0 lead. It's not safe by any means. Keep your foot on the pedal. Don't let Duke get these opportunities. I mean, what a statement that would be to hold them to no shots on goal in this game.
Yeah, that's a good note, Rachel. Shots on goal right now, 7-0. Ellie Breach has not had to make a save. And Ben Waldrum talked about the importance of signature wins. Well, this would be one for the Panthers.
This would be a big, big game for Pitt. I mean, I thought Notre Dame, that draw was going to be a big game, but this would be huge. And this reminds me a lot, too, of that Notre Dame game last year. No, not the one that they were eliminated from the tournament with, but the game earlier in the season where they won 3-1. That was a big turning tide for the Panthers, taking on a ranked Notre Dame team and beating them.
What a ball from Minas. Tried to find Mertz, but Nikki Chico got in the way of it for Duke. 17, the Blue Devil defender. Piper works it around Lee. Went to the back post, but Minas was the only one there. And Rachel, have to think Duke would have liked some more attackers in that area at the time.
Sure. I mean, that's the downfall to a 3-4-3 is that you do kind of have to rely on your midfielders to come back and help make those defensive plays. And, you know, Chloe Minas and Ellie Caulfield are used to doing that. They're used to putting in that work, but they are not natural defenders. So it can be a bit easier to have them make a mistake rather than Katie Zalesky and Ashton Gordon, which I don't think we talk about them enough and just how solid of a center back duo they are. They have started every single game together, and that is just such a good partnership. Ashton Gordon's a senior, Katie Zalesky's a sophomore, so Panthers have to look to the future to figure out what they're going to do when Gordon's gone. But this season, I mean, that has just been such a strong partnership. I think a lot of attacking teams in the ACC see Gordon and Zalesky and think, I don't know how in the world we're going to get through these two. Robbie Church mentioned their height alone is a big factor to their game.
Right. (17-3), the shots lead for the Panthers. And just imagine hearing that about 5 years ago, say, Rachel, that in a little bit of time, Pitt would have a 17-3 shots lead on the Duke Blue Devils. And a 2-0 lead.
I thought for sure Duke was going to get their first shot on goal there, teeing up for a strike, but again, they're just send the ball wide, build that possession a little bit more. Robbie Church and his team just, they want the possession. They love their possession. As Kira Mellenhorst comes in to relieve goal scorer Samaya Fury. But Duke was looking good there for a moment, building that possession, playing a little bit, swinging the ball. But just a sloppy giveaway gives the ball back to the Panthers, and now they get to build on the possession that they already so mightily have in this game.
Fury absolutely deserving of the rest. Mentioned she is the one who opened the scoring tonight for the Panthers with the strike from distance, but she also assisted on the second Panther goal to Anna Bout. So Samaya Fury has been a contributor in multiple ways tonight for Pitt. And the Panthers seem to be on their way to what would be a huge ACC win in early October. Once again, Ellie Caulfield there to take away any attempt at a Duke build, but now they get it right back. And once again, just too many white shirts.
I think this game has gotten to a point that even with, my goodness, Landy Mertz is running like she just entered this match. Talk about not turning off the gas, but anyway, this has gotten to the point where no matter how many good-looking opportunities that Duke has, they're so wary of this counter from Pitt and just the speed from these attackers that they don't want to send numbers up forward.
Right.
That they're maybe afraid of what's going to happen if they do so. They also just, that's keeping in mind your goalkeeper. You don't want to leave her in no man's land.
No shots on goal yet for the Blue Devils. Hasn't happened since May of 2021 against Florida State, who has a pretty good program.
Not like they're ranked number 2 or anything.
But Rachel, to your point, I think that shows how difficult Pitt is to defend because of all the options up front. And when they work as hard as they do, even up 2 goals, it's tough to really maneuver any kind of attack when you're still worried about those front 3 for the Panthers.
Right, and I think like you mentioned a little bit ago, just looking back at this result right now, the score line, and thinking 4 or 5 years ago, would this happen? 4 or 5 years ago, I never thought I'd say that in terms of scoring and passing along the wealth, they're like FSU and they're like North Carolina. Never thought I'd say those 3 teams together. But Pitt, they don't have that one singular player, and that's good. You know, it's unfortunate that Amanda West hasn't scored since September 17th, but teams still put 2 players on her.
It creates problems for defenses, no question about it. And with the 2 goals tonight, Panthers are up to 35 on the year. That's second in the ACC behind only Clemson for goals scored in 2023. Even plays like that one where you think you forced a turnover, maybe Duke winning a corner kick, but no. Ellie Caulfield hustles over, keeps the ball in play, preventing the corner. Now a little extra after the distribution from Mertz. She draws the foul. And the Panthers with yet another free kick.
When these 2 stand over the ball, Kira Mellenhorst and Sarah Shapansky, you never know who's going to take it.
Well, this time it'll be the left foot of Shapansky. Wonderful ball in. West tried to get ahead on it, but it ends up near the corner. Mertz tracks it down against Chico. Shapansky, another opportunity, sends a ball in, headed down, and it pops out. Blue Devils get a temporary clearance. And you mentioned Mertz looking like she just checked into the game. I think same thing from Sarah Shapansky.
Yeah, I agree. Just the effort from these players is second to none.
And it has been a battle of endurance, it seems, in a way, because remember, those first 20, 25 minutes were very, very even. But as this match has progressed, Pittsburgh just looks more and more dominant.
Yeah, since pretty much the last 15 minutes, it's been all Pitt.
Mertz, bout, off the bar. Panthers still moving offensively. West finds a wide open Mertz. And finally, Duke able to get rid of it. But how many posts and crossbars have the Panthers hit too tonight, Rachel?
Well, and that's the second time Anna Bout has hit the crossbar. I think she's going to have a little bit of an issue with that end of the goal.
Okay, and now things get interesting because our official has pointed to the spot. Ellie Breach and Katie Zalesky came out to challenge Maggie Graham. And in a second half that has been all Pitt, Duke is going to have an opportunity from the spot.
Yeah, I'm scratching my head here at what Katie Zalesky's doing. I think it's a fair call. She pushes off there. I don't think this is a call against Ellie Breach. Your goalkeeper is coming out to collect that ball. Let her do it. Katie Zalesky needs to step to the side or jump over. Or there's no need for that shove when Ellie Breach is coming off of her line and she's 100% committed to getting that ball. This is going to be a big moment for Ellie Breach, who just celebrated her 20th birthday this past Saturday. She got the win against Boston College, the clean sheet. You know she wants one tonight against this Duke side, but penalties are such a tough spot for any goalkeeper.
And the officials are going to take another look at this one. And I think you said it, Rachel. Just seemed like an unnecessary little extra shove there from Zalesky when Breach was in position.
Yeah, I don't think the referee is going to have to look at this too long. I just think that the arm motion, if there was no shove, I don't think there's a call here. I think it's a very clean play from Ellie Breach to come out and get this ball. Katie Zalesky's kind of running step and step. There's no need to shove. There's nothing to call if you're calling she's hitting the feet of the goalkeeper. But yeah, I agree with the referee here. He signals it's a penalty. I agree with the call. If there's no shove and she just hits Breach's feet, there's nothing there. This is a big, big moment for the sophomore goalkeeper.
So Duke has taken one penalty as a team this season. Maggie Graham took it and missed. So this one looks to be Kat Rader for the Blue Devils. Leads the team in scoring on the season. The reigning ACC Freshman of the Year has an opportunity to completely change the course of this match. And Rader delivers to the right. Duke cuts the lead in half with 13:01 on the clock. The Blue Devils have life.
This game is wide open now. All the momentum swung in Pitt's direction. Now kind of in the middle. I don't think the momentum is all on the Duke side. This is a very well taken penalty going to the right. Ellie Breach thinks she's going to go left. Dives the wrong way. A nice goal for Duke, for Kat Rader. That's her 6th of the season, leading this team.
18 on the career for Kat Rader after 12 last year.
Yeah, like you said, that goal, it simply just gives Duke life. And that's what they needed in this game. They were so, I think it's fair to say, abysmal for about 40 minutes there. Now you see them pushing up some numbers, not being too worried about that Pitt counterattack.
And on the contrast has to be Randy Waldrom's biggest frustration. They've clearly outplayed Duke all night, an 18-4 lead in shots, and you concede a penalty with 13 minutes remaining to give Duke some hope.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a bit of a talking with Zalesky after that. I think that's something, too, that communication, right? Breach calls it out that she's coming to get that ball. Maybe Zalesky didn't hear her. Maybe they just couldn't communicate as well in the fast moment of that play. But now this gives life to Duke, and you wonder what's to come next in these next 12-ish minutes.
And suddenly all those posts and crossbars that the Panthers hit become all the more interesting as Samaya Fury checks in for Amanda West. Fury, of course, making her presence known in this game with a goal and an assist to her name.
I like this substitution. I think Amanda West certainly wants her goal, but I think Fury just adds a little bit more physicality into this game. It's Duke, again, just getting life in this game. Ball in their box.
And a shot there from Goldthwaite sailed over the top of the bar. But that's just it, Rachel. Ever since the penalty was given, Duke has looked different in the last couple minutes.
Duke feels good. They feel like they can come back and tie this game, or even come back and win this game. And Pitt Panthers now, they need to relax and settle down and just get back into how they've been playing this game for the past 40, 50 minutes.
So now for Duke, the only shot on goal that they've had is the penalty. Kat Rader with 6 goals on the season now. And it's a Duke team that has scored just 13 goals on the year. Now another dangerous ball sent in. Goldthwaite got ahead. Rader is there. Pops out. Rader still with it. A shot's just wide from Kat Rader.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe this ball does not go in the back of the net. Just too many free chances here for Duke. It almost seems like Pitt is just scrambling right now. If I'm Randy Waldrum, I'm making a defensive substitution and adding a fourth defender because this back line just seems completely shook after the penalty giveaway. Almost like they're second guessing every decision that they're making.
Oh, not the punt that Leah Freeman wanted there on the release. Doesn't look like it'll matter too much as Goldthwait was still able to track it down. But now Mellenhorst with the takeaway as Pitt gets it back.
You see how deep Ellie Caulfield is on this side of the field, trying to help and solidify that defense a little bit, adding just another fourth defender, if you will.
Meanwhile, Chloe Menas trying to calm down her team, likely reminding them that they are just about 9 minutes away from what would be a landmark victory for the Panthers. But Kat Rader, once again, poked by Zalski, drops it back. This is Laguerre. Duke staying patient in the attacking third, but it pops out.
Little bit of redemption there for Katie Zalski as she pokes the ball away, or else Duke's getting a nice shot there. So there's an injury break. I think the defenders need to gather up and talk about just what is going on and settle themselves down, whether they go over with the coaching staff and do that or do that themselves. They need to figure out a way to calm down their back line and make some smarter decisions. You see Ashton Gordon hanging back, talking with Sarah Shapansky.
And one more look at the injury here to Katie Groff. Bit of an awkward slide, and then Samaya Fury made some contact. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't look like Fury necessarily stepped on her anywhere.
I think it's a non-contact, and thankfully it doesn't look like they're looking at the knee. They're looking more at that hamstring. So that's a positive sign. Hopefully she's able to get up and make it off the field in her own power.
A really important player, Katie Groff. Robbie Church says she's their best ball winner, very good on the ball. And with the injuries recently, at times they've had to take her out of the midfield and put her in the back. But says that when they do that, they just don't have the grit or the bite that they need in the midfield with Groff in that spot, the senior from Raleigh. Of course, this also comes at a time when Duke was really starting to build momentum in this game. So Robbie Church and the Blue Devils hoping that they can continue all of that post-injury stoppage here.
Yeah, and it gives Pitt a chance to regroup and talk about what's going on, and Duke also gets a chance to talk about potentially building off of, like you said, Jason, all that momentum, building off of the goal. You can tell that they have the Pitt defense frazzled right now.
So Groff being helped off. 8:16 on the clock here in Pittsburgh. That's Mia Minestrella warming up for the Blue Devils. Robbie Church told us we might see her tonight. It will be Minestrella coming on to relieve the injured Groff for now. Makes her 11th appearance of the season. Came on and played 21 minutes Sunday at Virginia. And so we resume. 8:15 to go at Ambrose Urbanic Field. Blue Devils trying to find the equalizer after Pitt led for almost the entirety of the second half. And now here's Mertz. Goal for Duke came in the 77th minute on the penalty delivered by Rader. Fury tries to shield, and a shove in the box, but it is called a corner kick. Lots of contact from Cameron Roller, and that was dangerous, Rachel.
Well, if you call one shove on one end, I think you need to call a shove on the other end. I don't see how that's not a penalty. Seems like a bit of a frustration foul for Roller. Yeah, there's no reason for that play. Samaya Fury, though, you talk about bringing physicality to the game on that right side. She, in a very swift move, put 2 Duke players on the ground. Play on, said the referee, and rightfully so.
Now Szczepanski. Ball sent in, thought it had a chance at goal. I don't think she was trying to shoot, but a dangerous attempt from Szczepanski.
I don't think she was trying to shoot either, and honestly, in a corner kick with about 6 minutes left and such a close, small lead, I think you play from the back. I think you send it back to Ellie Caulfield or Katie Zalesky. Chloe Minos was hanging back a little bit too. This is where you want to have your possession. Kind of run down that clock, not park the bus per se, but get forward while keeping the ball.
And how about this? Must be a nice luxury to have, to be able to just sub off your attacking players, give them each a couple minutes rest. Amanda West recently came off for Samaya Fury and had a feeling it wouldn't be for long, but just so many threats offensively for the Panthers. Randy Waldrum can afford to give them each a little bit of a breather here in the second half.
You know Amanda would love a goal to get that 2-goal lead back. Nice ball there from Anna Bout. She's been an absolute workhorse since she's been in.
Anna Bout, the second Panther goal on the night, off the assist from Samaya Fury. Goes down as the 3rd goal of the season for Bout. All clogged up in the corner here. 5 bodies in the vicinity. And ultimately goes out for a Duke throw. It was Fury and Bout within 3 minutes of each other before Rader equalized on the penalty kick in the 76th. Reminder that Pitt still leads in the shots department 19-6, 8-2 in corners. They've had the better of the play for the majority of the night, but Blue Devils capitalized on the penalty. Now West lays off to Minas, but pressure came from Minestrella, and Minas wins it right back.
What a perfect tackle.
That's why they call her the Energizer Bunny, Chloe Minas.
She certainly lives up to that nickname. That was just timed absolutely perfectly. Another great play here from Anna Bout. My word, what a game she's having. Chloe Minas. She faked it out in the first half, toward the end of the first half, and this time she actually gets the ball, all ball too. That is a perfect tackle.
That's how you draw it up. Panthers past few minutes have started to look like they did for the majority of this game, in control. But now Duke on the counter. This is Kat Rader circling, looking for an option. Now cross in, Caulfield. Minestrella tried to get a foot on it, but last off Duke for a goal kick.
Ellie Caulfield serving as that 4th defender, helping out Ashton Gordon, Katie Zalesky, and Olivia Lee. Also her goalkeeper there, Ellie Breach.
Vicious strike there from Duke. It was Elle Piper stepping in to take it, but too much on it.
I don't mind that shot from Duke, but I think that there were better options on that play that wouldn't have wasted as much time. I think maybe Piper thought, if I send it out wide, it'll take time off the clock. It was a good shot, just not on frame and not too threatening for Ellie Breach.
So time starting to slip away for the Blue Devils. Just over 2 minutes separating Pitt from its first ever victory over Duke.
This is one of those games too, Jason, where I think that if the result holds, there could be multiple players of the match for Pittsburgh. Samaya Fury had a gorgeous, gorgeous strike. Landy Mertz has been putting in some silent work on that right side. And Chloe Minos has had some really solid takes in the midfield. Anna Bout has come in strong.
And that's a big story for Pitt this year, the depth. It's allowed them to produce a 9-2-1 record to start the season, and well, we're just on October 5th, and they are a minute away from double-digit wins here in 2023. Outstanding header from Fury to Mertz. Mertz has a go, saved by Freeman. Maybe one final push here for Duke. And another Duke player down is Elle Piper right after she kicked that ball. But we play on for now, and as it goes out of play, we'll stop with 20 ticks left. And unfortunately, Rachel, especially with the amount of injuries Duke has had to undergo this season, you hate to see so many players down tonight for the Blue Devils.
Certainly, I think every time there's a player down, and Robbie Church is holding his breath and hoping for the best, hoping they can walk off on their own power. It was good news for Bailey Brewster earlier. Will it be the same here for Piper? This is one of those awkward stoppages where there's 20 seconds. Of course, you have to stop when the ball goes out of bounds and there is a player on the ground, but it's just one of those awkward stoppages. There's 20 seconds left and anything can happen on a drop ball.
Yeah, especially in college soccer where once that clock is 0, we're done. There's no stoppage time here.
No stoppage time, no overtime. Pitt player now being helped off as well. It looks like
I think it's Chloe Minos.
it is. After coming off of that ACL tear last year, the last thing you want to see is an injury, and she is limping, and it is not looking good.
Minos clearly in some pain on the sideline. A couple injuries on the play. And you said it, you hate to see this match end like this. As now Piper is up and walking under her own power. And we'll see what we can find from this play. And Minos just looks like, again, non-contact, just came up awkwardly there. And the hope is that it's nothing serious, and we'll see Chloe Minos back in her next game for Pitt.
But you have to hold your breath every time you see a no-contact injury, and for a player just coming off of that is, like you said, Jason, you can only hope for the best.
So time expires. Randy Waldrum and Pittsburgh continue to make history. They check off another accolade on the list, and they defeat Duke for the first time ever.
Program history here, beating the Blue Devils like